This is Andrew Anderson. In this video, we're going to look at developing some resources for our project and then allocating those resources to the tasks. What you see here is a fairly simple project with several tasks with a duration and work assigned to several of those items. We're going to go over to the resource sheet and take a look at actually developing some resources that we can then allocate to the various tasks. This is a blank resource sheet. What I'll do is actually populate that sheet and then explain to you a little bit about what we see in each one of the columns. As you can see here, we've placed some items onto the resource sheet in various categories. First column is simply the resource name, what we're going to call that resource. In the second column, what we have is the type of resource. There are actually three types of resources that we use in MS Project. Work resources typically are people and equipment. Those are associated with time to perform a task. For example, a plumber that was installing a fixture, or in the case of a piece of equipment, a compactor that's used for leveling a gravel base. The second type of resource is material resources. These are the consumables. Examples would be bricks, gravel, paint, concrete, those things that are consumed while completing and performing the tasks. And the last is cost resources. These are other resources that are not directly associated with the time to perform a task. An example would be an airplane ticket or an airline ticket. In the next column, we describe how the material is used in MS Project. In this example, you'll see material A is described as being available in a pound. So if we went over to the standard rate and put in something like $5, that would mean for $5 we'd get 1 pound of material A. If we go down to the material C, you'll notice it's by the gallon. So if we had something that was $3.50, in essence, we're saying for $3.50, we would get a gallon of material C. Next column is initials. We're not going to use those right now. The next column over is the percent of time that resource is available to perform the task. You'll notice that most of our resources are 100% available to the task, except worker B. That worker is only available 50% of the time. This will impact when we allocate those resources to the various tasks. You'll see how that is impacted. I do want to point out that you'll notice in the first column that we have information that we can provide. In this case, we have a note. This note that says equipment C is available for a 24-hour period. So again, some additional information. Now we're going back to the Gantt view, and we're going to actually allocate those resources to the tasks. You'll notice we have a column over on the right-hand side that refers to the resource name. That resource will be applied based on what the type of resource it is that we explained in a different video. So we're going to actually do the pull down of a resource. So let's first look at taking task A. If we click on task A resource name and do the pull down, we'll see all the resources available. We're going to actually apply worker A to task A. Worker A, if you remember, is 100% worker, so if we apply that worker to task A for 10 days at 8 hours a day, we end up with 80 hours of work. We're actually going to move down and do task B next. Remember task B, we're going to actually apply worker B or to task B. Worker B was available only 50% of the time. So if we assign that worker to task B 4 days at 4 hours a day instead of 8, because they're only half time, results in a 16-hour of work for task B. Next, we'll apply 2 work resources to task C, which is 2 days in length. We're going to apply a worker resource at 100% and equipment at 100%. So you'll notice now when we apply those 2 resources, we're going to end up with more hours. In essence, we'll end up with 16 hours for the worker. We'll also end up with 16 hours for the equipment, so there'll be a total of 32 hours of work. We'll go down to task and notice a fixed amount of hours, so we're going to apply worker A to the task D. Task D is 16 hours in length, so you notice what we're going to end up doing to accommodate that is reducing worker A to only 20%. And now we'll continue to go down and add the resources to the other workers based on if they're fixed work, fixed unit. We're going to see how it will impact each one of the work hours. Now again, task F is fixed work, so it should stay at 24 hours. We apply worker A to task F You'll notice that the worker is going to have to reduce their time to 50% in order to keep the fixed hours at 24 hours. And then the last one will add worker A, 2 days, 8 hours a day. It'll be 16 hours. So a little bit of look at resources.